A heterogeneous mixture is a mixture of substances, is a mixture of two different substances where the properties of the mixture is not the same throughout the mixture. The properties of the mixture is not same. It's not same, or within bracket you can also write variable. ठीक है? It's not same or variable throughout the mixture. Okay? Under this point number 2 or point number 1, a heterogeneous mixture is non-uniform because the concentration of the various substances composing the mixture is not the same. Is not the same. Heterogeneous mixtures. If you see some examples of heterogeneous mixtures, okay, if you have learned this in higher lower classes also probably. If you try to mix salt and sand, you will not get a homogeneous mixture, right? You will see that some part of sand is more in some part, okay, and a part of salt is more in some other part, less in some other part. Okay, bata hobo. ठीक है से केटू बोल गया हमारा non homogeneous mixture part. Even if you see your air is also non-homogeneous, atmospheric air. Okay, যদি তুমি globally চোৱা বস্তুখিনি, you will not find the air is constant throughout. যদি যোৰহাটৰ মেইন কেনে চোৱা চিটিত অলপ বেছি পলিউশ্যন হ'ব হয়নে নহয়, তাত পলিউশ্যন বেছিকৈ চাব থাকিব. And if you see the peripheral areas of Jorhat, okay, that means the village part of the city, then you will see that what happens that the amount of pollution is way far lower than the main city. Okay, therefore the pollutants will be lower there. It is making a non-homogeneous mixture. Remember, understood? Tomar a room to kwa bahirot jua, your mixture will change. Okay, so air is also a non-homogeneous mixture. Remember, it is not a ठीक है सर, बुझी पाइছা তোমালোকে? Next one. Let us start with elements now. Directly let us start with elements. ठीक है सर? Remember, element is one of the purest form of matter that is composed of only one type of atom. Very, very important. You say it is one of the purest form of matter which is composed of only one type of atom. Now atomৰ এটা characteristic feature আছে চাবা মানে তোমাৰ elements they can either appear as single atoms or a combination of atoms. Okay, so elements, write down, elements can either exist as a single atom, as single atoms, or as an aggregate interviewer, as an aggregate, as an aggregate of single atoms, or a combination of same kind of atoms. Okay, now what do you mean by this? Okay, মানে এটা element, an element can either exist in the atomic form or an element can also exist in its molecular form. Now remember, whenever two or more atoms combine together, they are known as molecules. Okay, now molecules we can have of atoms or elements also, and molecules are also for compounds, remember. Okay, so if you see for elements can either exist in the atomic form or molecular form. But what is the main point of difference here between the molecules of elements and molecules of compounds is that molecules of compounds are composed of two or more different kinds of atoms, but the molecules of elements are composed of the same kind of atoms. Understood? Am I clear? Yes. So here the main difference is that molecules of elements are formed due to the combination of same kind of atoms. Remember. বুজি পাইছা সবে? Clear হৈছে কথাখিনি? So as per that, elements can also be termed as monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic, or polyatomic. Okay? So the first case is we have monoatomic elements. Now what do you mean by monoatomic? That means the entire element is composed of only one atom in an aggregate. মানে তোমার গোটেই এলিমেন্ট দিয়াটো এলিমেন্ট এটা এগ্রিগেটত থাকিব কিন্তু অকল এটা এটমই থাকিব। That means দুটা এটমৰ ভিতৰত তোমাৰ কেমিক্যাল বন্ডস নাই। Remember, দুটা এটমৰ ভিতৰত তোমাৰ you will not find any bonds between the elements. Understood? ঠিক আছে, এনেকুৱা তোমাৰ এক্সাম্পল হ'লগে, say for example your examples are like sodium, that is Na. ঠিক আছে, next is iron, Fe. ঠিক আছে, বুঝি পাইছা? Next you will also get things like say calcium, Ca, etc. Both এনেকুৱা আমাৰ monoatomic elements থাকে। ঠিক আছে, next if you see diatomic elements. If you talk about diatomic elements, then these elements are composed by the combination of two atoms of the same kind. Right now, the elements or the molecules of the elements are composed of two atoms of the same kind. Two atoms of the same kind. Okay? Understood? Like your metal, your element hydrogen. Hydrogen. Okay? Hydrogen, that is H2. Then this oxygen. Oxygen you have O2. Then you also have chlorine. Cl2. Because in both donor elements are set. Okay? Understood? They might sometimes ask you, name a monoatomic gaseous element. Name a monoatomic gaseous element. Then you can give examples like helium. Helium, that is He. Okay? Next, you can also think of gases like neon, Ne. Neon. Okay? Etc.
Sir,
Yes.
noble gases are monoatomic?
Yes. All your noble gases are monoatomic in nature. You can say, understood? Next, there are certain gases that appear in their triatomic form. One of the most common example of that is ozone. That means one molecule of ozone is composed of 3 atoms of oxygen. Okay? Here, one molecule of oxygen is composed of 2 atoms of oxygen. Understood? Again, are they 2 different atoms? No, they are the same. Therefore, they are known as diatomic elements. Understood? Therefore, we have triatomic elements like ozone. Ozone, which is O3. Okay. Next, if you look for polyatomic elements, that means these elements, they do not have a fixed number of what? Atoms attached. Do you know? Because of the polyatomicity of carbon, you can find carbon like carbonic heater and chain of it can go and associate with thousands and thousands of carbon atoms. Carbon or one easy carbon understood? Carbon chemistry known as organic chemistry. Organic chemistry. It is because of that property that carbon can form long chains. It can be straight chain, it can be cyclic chain. Okay? Sometimes we will also find carbon in ball-like structures, ball-like molecules. These are known as fullerenes. Okay? Buckminster fullerene understood? Ball fullerene. Fullerene will give 60 atoms carbon. Diamond बहुत होते हैं. Diamond में बहुत होते हैं. ठीक है? Diamond is almost you cannot count. Okay? बहुत atoms second. बस वो हेतु कारण है carbon और बहुत दोनों नंबर compounds form for it. Okay? Because of this polyatomicity. Understood? So polyatomic में carbon नहीं लिखा because carbon is an entirely different branch of study. फिर अपन बोलोगे यार polyatomic मतलब carbon नहीं लिखा हाँ. If you see polyatomic elements, you can find phosphorus, sulfur, you can find silicon. ठीक है से ऊपर रास्ते में आपको लिखाई बोली को लिखी नाला के ना तो खाने ऊपर से बुझी पाइसा ये लोग क्लियर हो से Now, if you see what are the properties of elements, you will, the first property is that elements, the property it is composed of only one kind of atom, it is one kind of atom, and all these atoms will have the same properties. Okay, so fourth point right now, all the atoms of a particular element will show the same properties will show the same properties. Will show the same properties. I mean, when I say properties, I mean both chemical properties as well as physical properties. Karan jodi ami chemistry ekdom porot sao, there are two types of properties that we discuss about any type of element, compound or whatever it is. Understood? One is your chemical property, other is your physical property. So here when I say properties, it is both physical as well as chemical. Write down in bracket. The properties are both physical as well as chemical. Understood? Mercury, huh? Hydrogen. H2. Hydrogen. Fire. Okay. Now, if they ask you what is the smallest unit of an element, will like hoga? Atom. The smallest unit of an element is atom. Remember. Okay. हाँ कंपाउंड्स में मॉलिक्यूल्स होता है ओके दूसरी बात से बता दो क्लियर हो से फिर ये लिखा लो होगा नाउ रिमेंबर योर elements can either occur naturally or can be artificially manufactured. Manufactured लिखेगा artificially synthesized in laboratories. These are known as natural elements and man-made elements. Remember, there are certain elements which are man-made also. Natural elements হলো কি পাবা হাইড্রোজেন, হিলিয়াম, কার্বন और ऑक्सीजन एगो नाम होता है ठीक है तुम्हारा man-made किबा elements होते हैं ओके ये कारण में वन है ओके in total we have 118 elements in the entire periodic table. Remember, the number of elements are 118. What? Yeah, iron. Yes, it will react with hydrochloric acid. Dissolve होता है, but we say it will react with hydrochloric acid. So, যদি মই iron hydrochloric acid of dissolve হৈ যায় বুলি কওঁ, and if I say that salt is dissolving in water, these are two different things. Remember, when normal salt is dissolved in water, no new chemicals are formed. It is simply salt solution. Okay. Now, when iron is dissolved in hydrochloric acid, then it's a different thing. Iron undergoes dissolution in hydrochloric acid because it reacts with hydrochloric acid to form ferrous chloride or ferric chloride. Now, depending upon the concentration, the ferrous chloride होगा और ये ferric chloride होगा. ठीक है सर? Understood? मुझे पैसा बता दो. So, हेलुआ के तुम्हारा iron dissolve करें. Okay? Yes. Next. Well, elements to Mark they are broadly classified into three types: metals, non-metals, and metalloids. ठीक है से? किधर तो तुम्हारा कॉर्बन एटम पढ़ा हुए ना अपने चैप्टर को बोलिए. पढ़ सकते हैं? था क्या तुम लोग का क्लास 6 में था शायद ना metals, non-metals? अच्छा अच्छा. दिवाली को तो नोट आउट कर देते हैं. ना लगे ना मैं? कोर्स ऑफ 9 दरकार नहीं. ठीक है? हाँ? ठीक है सर. Next. Elements of অলপ এটা important হয়, they might ask you which are your liquid metals. Okay, which are your liquid metals or which are the liquid elements present. If they say what which are the liquid elements, right now liquid elements. Liquid elements, number one, at room temperature, mercury that is Hg and bromine are liquids at room temperature হয় না যৌত হয় আপু হ্যাঁ क्या बोलूंगा और किस कंडीशन में आने में बोलूंगा This is the only liquid metal at room temperature, remember. Okay, only liquid at room temperature. Only metal which is a liquid at room temperature, and this is the only non-metal which is a liquid at room temperature. Remember? Understood? Now, second, now the second thing is that certain metals like rubidium, cesium, francium, and gallium will exist in their liquid forms only above 30 degrees Celsius. That means if you simply touch these metals, they will melt because your body temperature is more than 30 degrees Celsius or not. So if you keep a block of gallium on your hand, it will simply melt there. Room temperature is solid, remember. At room temperature, these metals are solid, but above 30 degrees Celsius, they are liquids. 30 और 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस के ऊपर होती लिक्विड्स है, ठीक है सर? आयुषी, अब पता चला डिफरेंस, ठीक है? रूम टेम्परेचर अलग है और ये अलग है. क्लियर कॉल? कंपाउंड्स आराम से पढ़ो. रिडक्शन रिएक्शन में समझा देगा लैंग्वेज ऑफ केमिस्ट्री डिटेल्स में समझाऊंगा. यहाँ पर भी समझाऊंगा थोड़ा बहुत. जब बेसिक में लैंग्वेज ऑफ केमिस्ट्री शुरू करेंगे वहाँ पर हमें पता चल जाएगा डिटेल्स में क्या होता है. व्हाट इज रिडक्शन एंड ऑक्सीडेशन. मैंने कल बोला था ना रिडक्शन क्या होता है. Reduction is the process where hydrogen is either added to a particular substance or oxygen is removed from a particular substance. इसको हम बोलते हैं reduction. ठीक है सर? हाँ ना लगे electrons ठीक है सर? If electrons are added to a particular substance, then it is a reduction reaction. If electrons are removed, then it is an oxidation process. ठीक है सर? बोल रहे? Well, let us start off with compounds. What are compounds? BC হচ্ছে নাকি? BC হচ্ছে নাকি? বিজ্ঞান ভাষা না কোন compounds অলপ পড়াই রাখে, ঠিক আছে? BC পড়া হবে. By next week we will be done with this chapter. Okay? Next week में हमारा chapter 8 हो जाएगा. तुम्हारे को क्वेश्चन से स्क्वायर टेबल लगी बार इसे करके फाइंड करो. যে কৰিব পাৰিবা য'ত দিগদাৰ হয় মোক ক'বাই খালি ঠিক আছে পেলাই দিয়া compounds. Now let us see what a compound is. Okay? Compounder are बहुत important characteristic features আছে. Remember, compounds are also pure homogeneous substances. ঠিক আছে? তোমার first clear criteria হয় right now. Compounds are also pure homogeneous substances. ठीक है सर understood इलेक्ट्रोलाइसिस हम किसी भी चीज में कर सकते हैं that means we are using electricity to separate things okay separate things just remember electrolysis is not just carried for water it with a মানে general concept है মানুহৰ যখন electrolysis বুলি ভাবিলেই যদি ভাবে যে it is water but this is wrong electrolysis is carried out for a lot of other substances okay just not water हाँ अगर तुम water का electrolysis कर रही हो तो उसको हम acidify करते हैं using sulfuric acid ठीक है सर के लिए acidify करो because extremely pure water is a non-conductor of yes Angelina and Shreyashri don't talk extremely pure water is a non-conductor of electricity okay it will not conduct electricity okay whenever you have to make pure water conduct you will have to put some of the other things and those some of the other things are known as electrolytes okay these are known as electrolytes whenever you want to make water conductive in nature you will have to add an electrolyte to it ঠিক আছে এটো কাৰণে তোমাৰ কি হয় সালফিউৰিক এসিডৰ লিখা বস্তুখিনি আমাৰ ইলেক্ট্ৰোলাইট হয় ওকে নাও যেতিয়া তোমালোকে কম্পাউণ্ডছ কৰিবা কম্পাউণ্ডছৰ ভিতৰত এটা আমাৰ বস্তু আছে something known as ions okay whenever we are talking about ionic compounds they are produced from ions okay now কি হয় যেতিয়া আমি কিবা এটা ionic compound পানীত বা জিৰত আমি mix কৰি দিওঁ what happens is that ions are produced and these ions they conduct electricity not water itself okay so whenever you put sulfuric acid in water you will get something called hydrogen ions and sulfate ions and these hydrogen ions and sulfate ions they will conduct electricity in water not water itself remember okay so water is a non-conductor bad conductor not non-conductor sorry it's a bad conductor of electricity at very high purity okay understood तो इसके लिए हमको इसे एसिडिफाई करना होता है understood বুঝি পাইছা কথাখিনি নাই কোৱা পাইছা পাইছা নহয় নাই কোৱা now next compounds কি হয় বুজিবা যেতিয়া compound এটা ফর্ম হ'ব লগিয়া হয় a compound is always formed due to the chemical combination of two or more than two types of atoms which are of different kinds they are not of the same kinds remember we cannot call O2 H2 then your O3 as compounds these are not compounds because these are molecules that are produced due to the combination of same kind of atoms okay but if you see things like H2O which is a liquid again if you see SO2 which is something known as sulfur dioxide okay if you see CO2 which is what carbon dioxide if you see NaCl that is sodium chloride there are two different atoms you see one atom of sodium another atom of chlorine here there are three different atoms two oxygen atoms and one carbon atom here again there are three different kinds of atoms okay two oxygen atom and one sulfur atom so sab ki hoise এইবোৰ তোমাৰ compounds হয় they are formed due to the chemical combination of more than two types of atoms which are of different kinds. Okay, so we have our next definition that compounds are formed due to the chemical combination of two or more atoms of different kind. ঠিক আছে, very important line, in a fixed ratio by weight or mass, whatever you call it, okay, by mass or weight. ইয়ার মানে কি, if I am saying there are two atoms of hydrogen combining with one atom of oxygen, then we have only what? Two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen to make one molecule of water. Okay? এটাও যদি ভেৰাই কৰি যায়, এটা যদি এক্সট্ৰা অক্সিজেন আহি যায় বা এক্সট্ৰা তোমাৰ কি হাইড্ৰোজেন আহি যায়, তোমাৰ কম্পাউন্ডটোৱে বেলেগ হৈ যাব। ঠিক আছে? Say for example, if I have something like this, H2O. H2O is what? One molecule of water. One molecule of water that is combined in the ratio of 2:1. That means there are two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. One atom of oxygen. Understood? A fixed ratio by mass will equivalent purpose. If you see what is the atomic weight of hydrogen, what is the atomic weight of hydrogen? तुम्हें कब पड़ेगा? 1. ठीक है सर? Water की होगा सब? In water, if you see the weight of hydrogen is 1, right? But there are two atoms of hydrogen, therefore 1 into 2. Two atoms. Okay, so weight of hydrogen in water is what? 2 grams. We call it 2 grams. Understood? Now, if you see weight of oxygen, atomic weight of oxygen is something 16. 16 के पावर है, ठीक है सर? 16, and there are how many atoms of oxygen? How many atoms of oxygen in water? 1. So 16 into 1. That means it is 16 gram. Understood? 16 gram. So if you see the ratio of weight of hydrogen to the weight of water. Okay, now let us say weight of hydrogen to the weight of oxygen in water. In water, you will get this weight. 2/16, that is 1/8. And this ratio will always remain fixed for a particular compound. Water का नहीं तो 1/8 एक होगा, ताकि किसी को होगा ही मर। Understood? Am I clear? Now, if I see another one type where hydrogen and oxygen are combining, okay, that is another one type. सबे बुझी पाइसा ने बात तो? बुझी पाइसा? Clear हो से एक हाँ। Atomic weight is 16. There is something known as atomic weight. Okay, A is a fixed ratio by mass বুলি কৈছো যে এই মাসটো actually weight হয়। ঠিক আছে? That is the weight of that particular atom. Understood? Particular atom in that particular compound. So 16 তোমাৰ এটা মানে oxygen atomৰ mass কিমান হয়? 16 হয়। ঠিক আছে? How many atoms are present? One atom. এইটো কাৰণে মই কি দিছো? 16 into 1 দিছো। Understood? Clear? Now, if you see another one compound that is known as H2O2. This is known as one molecule of hydrogen peroxide. Peroxide की बोलते हैं। बात जोड़ी जरूर है तो इनका अपन हाइड्रोजन पेरोक्साइड बोलते हैं। Understood? ইয়াত কি হৈছে অকল এটা অক্সিজেন বেলেগ হৈছে। অকল এটা অক্সিজেন বেলেগ হৈছে মানে অকল এটা অক্সিজেন এটম বাঢ়ি গৈছে এইটো কাৰণত কম্পাউণ্ডে বেলেগ হৈছে দেখিছানে আন্ডাৰস্টুড নাও ইয়াৰ আমি এটা ক্যালকুলেট কৰিম ঠিক আছে নাও লেট আস সি হাইড্ৰোজেন পেৰক্সাইডৰ যোনটো তোমাৰ ৰেশিও হয় দ্যাট ইজ 2:2 that means there are two atoms of hydrogen and there are two atoms of oxygen বুঝি পাইছা now let us again see the weight in hydrogen peroxide let us see weight of hydrogen is how much 1 into 2 because there are two atoms of hydrogen right 1 is the atomic weight and 2 is the number of atoms क्या लिखियो निकल पड़ो नालागे ना डॉक्टर so it is 2 grams right next if you see the weight of oxygen you will get this 16 into 2 this time one and one because there are two atoms of oxygen right बुझी पाइसा so 16 into 2 that will give you how much 32 grams right it is if we are ratio to slow what will happen see weight of hydrogen by weight of oxygen in hydrogen peroxide is equals to 2 by 32 that is 1 by 16 that means the ratio is 1 by 1:16 and this is 1:8 this is a fixed ratio by weight if you see fixed ratio by weight or mass they are varying the compound has become different this is a অকল এটা atom বেলেগ হৈছে your entire molecule has become different your entire compound has become different আৰু ইহঁতৰ দেখিছেনে 1/8 হয় water কাৰণে আৰু 1/16 হয় hydrogen peroxide কাৰণে ক্লিয়াৰ হ'ল কথাটো কেলে fixed ratio by weight বুলি কোৱা হয় everyone clear নাই হোৱা তুমি মৰ্নিং এটা খুব ক্লিয়াৰ হ'ব ঠিক আছে আকৌ বুজাই দিব লাগিব কোনটো বুজি পাব লাগিব হা এলিস্টন তুমি বুজি পালা ইজাবেলা বুজি পালা কমাটোজনী বুজি পাইছা চোৱা ওয়াটাৰ কি হৈ গৈছে weight of hydrogen is কিমান মাস আছে হাইড্ৰোজেনৰ এটা ওয়াটাৰ মলিকিউল ঠিক আছে if I see 1 is your atomic weight of hydrogen ঠিক আছে and ইয়াত 2 মানে কি হৈছে how many atoms of hydrogen are present এইটো মানে 1 to 2 grams কি বুজি পাইছা here again weight of oxygen কি হৈছে if you see the atomic weight of oxygen is 16 and this is the number of atoms of oxygen okay therefore 16 into 1 will give you 16 grams atomic weight of oxygen and this is atomic weight of hydrogen ঠিক আছে হেতু কাৰণে ইয়াত 16 দিছে ইয়াৰ ৰেশিও হ'ল 2:16 পালে কিমান পাবা 1:18 পাবা সিমিলাৰলি হাইড্ৰোজেন পেৰক্সাইড কি হৈছে 2 গ্ৰামছ আছে হাইড্ৰোজেনৰ আৰু অক্সিজেনৰ 32 গ্ৰাম আছে 16 হাইড্ৰোজেনৰ নিয়া হয় এটমিক weight হয় and তোমাৰ 2 number of atoms হয় অক্সিজেনৰ হেতু কাৰণে কিমান হৈছে 32 গ্ৰামছ if you see the ratio 2/32 is 1:16 দেখিছানে তোমাৰ ৰেশিওটো ভৰাই হৈ গৈছে just because of one change in atom of oxygen atomic weight है वो और तुम्हें memorize करना पड़ेगा in higher classes you have to memorize there is no other way up to element number 30 1 to 30 सब सेपरेट हो जाएंगे हाँ वो हम भी ऐसे ही निकाल सकते हैं अगर मैं बोलूं आयुषी का वेट बोलो तो हम ऐसे ही निकाल देंगे हम बोल सकते हैं it is not possible I have to memorize I have to take your weight I have to memorize right and that is constant সেইটো কেতিয়াও ধৰাই নপৰে বুজি পাইছা কিছুমান বস্তু মুখস্থ কৰিবই লাগিব সেইটো আৰু উপায় নাই ওকে এইখিনি লিখি লও that's যাব পাৰে Here was the compounds की वस्तु है here was